Good evening. I'm Henry Goodwin, and our sports sticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Friday night, 6th-ranked Husker Wrestling hosts number 1 Penn State in a top 10 Big Ten matchup. The Huskers are coming off an upset win against Minnesota and are hoping to break Penn State's 5-year undefeated duel streak. The duel is set for 8 p.m. Friday at the Devaney Center. Nebraska women's tennis team is headed to California to begin its spring campaign, taking on UC Riverside for a doubleheader duel on Thursday, January 16th. The Big Red will face the Highlanders at noon and 4 p.m. Details for Baseball Fan Fest were released today. The event is scheduled for Friday, January 31st, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the Hawks Championship Center. The event will give fans a chance to meet the 2025 Huskers and get autographs. The first 1,000 fans will get a free hot dog and water. Activities include a wiffle ball home run derby, inflatables, balloon artists, and face painters. Nebraska Track and Field continues its season this weekend as the Huskers host the Graduate Classic at the Devaney Center Indoor Track and Field Center on Friday and Saturday, January 17th and 18th. Field events start on Friday at 12 and running events begin at 1:35. Admission is free and links to watch will be posted on Huskers.com. Finally, there's a huge top 10 college basketball matchup tonight. The 9th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks are in Ames to take on the 2nd-ranked Iowa State Cyclones. That game is underway. Our sports ticker is sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Now get ready for 2 hours of Sports Nightly right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Here comes UCLA the other way. Sebastian Mack, jump stop in the paint. It's taken away from him by Hoiberg. Hoiberg stripped him. Hoiberg across the timeline. Hoiberg waits for his teammates. On the pass to Butengel, puts it up. Got it! Hoiberg driving, left lane line stopping, goes weak side, bounce pass. Morgan's got it, strong with the ball, puts it up and in, and one. Nebraska with a 9-point lead, their biggest of the game. What a strong move by Morgan.
Rebound Campbell, Penn State looks to retake the lead. Britt Prince knocked it away at half court. Bojan got the loose ball. Bojan volleyball bats it to Prince. Rimdahl for 3, deep left wing. You betcha! Off the assist from Britt Prince. Out Bernie Rimdahl with a Central Valley A3. Forces a Penn State timeout.
Now, here is your host, Jessica Coody, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome into this Wednesday night edition of Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody. Greg Sharpe has the night off tonight, but we have a great substitute filling in for him tonight, our great friend Nick Hanley. If you missed the show on Monday night, we had him on, had an announcement that Nick's going to be coming back for us, calling some baseball, helping us out here on Sports Nightly, so he's stepping in for us tonight. Nick, we got a lot of great responses. Everybody's glad you're back here on the Huskers Radio Network.
I'm excited to be back, and it's been a couple of months since I've done this regularly, so you're just gonna have to bear with me here. I hope it's like riding a bike, just kind of have to kick off the rust a little bit. But obviously, it's a fun time of the year too, as we're getting close to those spring sports. But this is where all the winter sports are heating up too. So this is a very exciting time to be on with you.
Yeah, we got a lot going on. It's crossover season. It's starting. We have tennis starting this weekend. Gymnastics is back. Huge wrestling duel coming up on Friday night as number 1 Penn State comes to town. We are going to check in with head coach Mark Manning coming up this hour here in just a few minutes and preview that matchup. But we start off the show tonight with just some heartbreaking news, as it has been announced by the Team Jack Foundation that Jack Hoffman has passed away at the age of 19 after a 14-year battle with brain cancer. I don't know if we could even begin to summarize, put into words his impact, what he means to Husker Nation. I know just on social media, seeing the impact that he's made, people remember that run. It won an ESPY. Just as devastating as the fight was for so long, how much good has come from his battle and the awareness and raising money for research and the Team Jack Foundation. But just heartbreaking as Jack Hoffman passes away today at the age of 19, Nick.
Yeah, and immediately when I saw that news, I thought of the Hoffman family and Bree Hoffman and the kids, just what that family has meant to Husker Nation. You go all the way back to really 2011 when Nebraska was playing in that game against Ohio State, and everybody remembers they're trailing and they come back and win that, and just a triumphant come from behind victory. And there was a part of Jack Hoffman before we were introduced to him as an entire audience on that spring game in 2013. This was in 2011 when it was known that Rex Burkhead had even brought up Jack Hoffman and what he was going through with the brain cancer that he had at such a young age. And then in 2013, of course, we all remember the run, the 69-yard touchdown run in Memorial Stadium at the spring game, and Taylor Martinez handing the ball off. And it didn't matter if you're a Nebraska fan. You could have been maybe the biggest rival of Nebraska, biggest rival fan base of Nebraska, and you saw that, and it took you to a better place. And watching him be able to live his life where you just didn't know what type of life he was going to have at such a young age, it was heartbreaking. And then, of course, his father, Andy, who was just a tremendous advocate for him, but also really spearheading all of the great research and the Team Jack Foundation and what they were able to raise when it came to the resources for pediatric brain cancer and just the fight against cancer, period. For him to also succumb to cancer when he was diagnosed in 2020, and then he was gone shortly after that, and then now this, again, it's unimaginable, the pain that this family is feeling. And I know there's going to be a time for this family to be able to reflect on the positivity that has come from just 19 years of Jack Hoffman and the impact that not only did he have on his friends and family, which I think goes without saying, but also the impact that he has on a battle that so many of us are so closely connected to, that we're connected to on the Husker Sports Network as well. You know, you see that type of impact that his courage, his fight has had, and what Andy had, and the short time from when he was diagnosed to when he passed on. You hope the family can find peace in what they meant to such a large fight. But right now, it's their time for mourning, and this is such a devastating blow to this family that has gone through the hardships, but has been able to find that strength in dealing with this because of how much impact that they have had to other families, to so many people that don't know if there's any hope I can't even imagine it. You know, I have a young son, and I can't imagine if you had to go to their hospital appointments and you have to watch them go through chemotherapy and treatment at such a young age when they should be out playing with their friends, but somehow he got through that. He got to play high school football. He was pre-law at University of Nebraska-Kearney. There's so much amazement that comes in just 19 short years, but without question, just like his father, gone too soon. And there's no question our hearts and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Hoffman family.
Yeah, the Team Jack Foundation has raised just under $13 million to childhood brain cancer research, which is so important. The relationship with the Husker football team, with the Nebraska road race, it was the 10-year anniversary of the run that they had. The people that were running the race ran the run that Jack ran back in 2013, and just a special relationship that has continued on. I've had a chance to chat with Bree Hoffman a couple of times since I've been here, with promoting the road race and just bringing the awareness to that, and what an incredible human being to have the strength that she has had with everything that they have gone through. So I echo your sentiments there on that family and just kind of what they're going through, and our thoughts and prayers certainly are with Bree and her girls as they are hurting today. There's no doubt about it, but just an incredible legacy that they have created and will continue to create. I love what his dad, Andy, said, that when he made the run, that he didn't just run for himself or the red team, but he ran for all the kids that were fighting brain cancer. And so it sparked a movement and ended up winning an ESPY, and it continues to be. We just celebrated the 100 years of Memorial Stadium, and it was among the top moments. And you think about all the moments, there's no doubt that Jack Hoffman's run is among some of the best that's been in the stadium.
You think about what we typically draw from a spring game, what we typically go into trying to ascertain what the team's going to look like, and everything that is really meaningless because it's a scrimmage. Yet there is that one memory, and I don't think anybody's going to forget it. And I think that it should have been the most celebrated moment at Memorial Stadium, because it's the one thing that was bigger than any result, that was bigger than any outcome, even in a conference game or a non-conference game or a spring game. It was something that it echoed well beyond Memorial Stadium and well beyond the Big Ten Conference or the Big 12 or the ACC or the SEC. I mean, we're talking about real world issues. We're talking about a human life and other human lives that are impacted by this awful disease. And so for a young person to lift so many people up, I don't think any of us could look at a moment like that and not just sit there and kind of get caught up in that moment. And for a young person to have that much inspiration, there are a lot of people, I think, that would love to have that type of lasting impact and that type of selfless impact for everything that I ever heard when he was going through this as a young kid. He didn't complain. He was always fighting that fight. He was always optimistic, and obviously he had a tremendous support staff with Andy and Bree and the girls, and that was a big part of it. But then all of a sudden he had an entire state behind him, and then he had an entire section of the country. Then he had an entire country and hopefully a world behind him that saw that and that was impacted by that. So I don't think there's any question when you think of the most impactful moments, most memorable moments at Memorial Stadium. If that's not number one, I'd be hard-pressed to find one that is.
Again, the Team Jack Foundation posting on their social media the official statement. It is with heavy hearts that we share the news of the passing of Jack Hoffman. Jack passed away after a long battle with brain cancer, a journey that inspired countless lives and left a legacy of hope, strength, and resilience. Jack Hoffman, you will always be our hero. I know he will forever be a hero in the eyes and hearts of Husker Nation as well. We wanted to play back for you the legendary call from that 2013 spring game. Here is Greg Sharpe and the run.
So Taylor gets the shotgun set, gives it to Jack. Here he goes. He's got blockers out in front.
There he
Jack
goes.
is running to midfield. Listen to this crowd as Jack Hoffman, the young man that, as I mentioned, has really been adopted by this football team, just scored a touchdown.
Oh, wow. What a moment.
And both benches empty.
That was a moment right there. Wow, goosebumps.
All 100 Husker football players were in the end zone.
They cleared the benches and followed him into the end zone.
Jack Hoffman, what a moment.
Preparation is the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pre-game routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Attention, Husker Nation. Are you ready to power up your game? Sap Brothers high-quality off-road red diesel is the fuel that powers your equipment. As official sponsors of the Huskers, we're here with a winning offer with the Sap Brothers Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. Contract your upcoming fuel needs by February 1st and enter to win 1,000 free gallons of our off-road red diesel to keep your engine roaring and equipment running strong. Sap Brothers fuels Husker Nation. Visit sapbros.net/fuel giveaway for more info.
Get started on your next adventure at Woodhouse GMC. No matter where you're headed, we've got a ride built for the journey. Save up to $7,000 off MSRP on the 2024 Yukon SLT 4x4. Shop in-store or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade. With approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer applies to select stock numbers. Must trade a 2011 or newer vehicle to qualify. Stock number V241263. Offer expires 1/31/2025. See dealer for details.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody, joined by Nick Hanley here tonight on the program. And Nick, Greg and I talked about this a little bit, last night, and some news coming out that potentially some adjustments to the transfer portal, maybe shortening it to one window in January after bowl season. I think there absolutely needs to be some regulations to it. We got to figure something out, but I don't know how they're going to be able to get rid of the spring window just with the roster reduction and all of that and going through spring ball. But wanted to get your thoughts on that and what maybe you foresee could happen to make this thing maybe a little cleaner and less just bonkers, I guess.
Well, and exactly, that's what it is. And is it me, or did they kind of forget there was so much momentum that they wanted to get that January window, which I'm all for it. That makes so much sense, especially now that we got to see here locally Nebraska go through bowl preparation while trying to manage the roster for 2025. Look, coaches, a lot of people aren't going to cue the violin for coaches based on the money that they're making. But when you have to re-recruit your own roster and then you're having to make major additions because you've got the pressure of winning. At a place like Nebraska, it's no different than any other school we're talking about that has that pressure. And so it felt like to me anyway, that all the momentum was, hey, let's get this thing pushed from December to January. Let's be able to focus on the early signing period with high school and junior college guys, and then we can transition into the transfer portal window in January when bowl games are done. And the only two teams really that might be impacted with that January 2nd and January 12th window would be teams that are playing for a national championship. And let's be honest, are those teams necessarily at a disadvantage when they're playing for a national championship? They can just tell recruits, hey, turn on the TV, turn on ABC and watch, and that's all you really need. The part of the spring, it's almost like they forgot. Like, oh, yeah, there's that spring window. Do we really want to do away with that? Because I was listening to your guys' conversation last night, and I think you're absolutely right, Jessica. I think the spring one, I think it serves two purposes. There's no question that when you have an injury situation, look, we're talking 15 practices, but even if it's not as much contact as you're going to have in fall camp, whether it's a spring game like Nebraska does it in a scrimmage fashion, or you're just doing a skills showcase to appease your fans, there are going to be scrimmages during a spring session, and there's going to be practices. Hell, it doesn't even matter sometimes when there's not a scrimmage. We see non-contact injuries all the time. But
Thomas Fidone got hurt twice in spring ball, right?
Right. And remember Maverick Noonan getting hurt in spring ball as well. And of course, there is what happened when we were all watching the spring game last year with Dre Bly. Bly Hill. And so, you know, then all of a sudden you're looking at a depth situation of, okay, we thought we had our starting corner. Now we don't. You brought up Sierra Wright. That was a great late addition, which is going to impact this team tremendously. But there's a great example of being able to, you lose a guy, and then you have that transfer portal window there in the spring to all of a sudden look at the roster, evaluate it, look at issues with depth, maybe due to injury, or maybe just performance-wise. And then the other thing that it serves too is let's not forget about the student athlete. I think we're in a day and age right now that we're very cognizant of the student athlete, but this is the one area that I don't think it's a lot of run when it comes to how important that spring window is. I think we like to still think these student athletes are going to be very loyal to their commitment to whatever university that they decide to go to. Maybe a new coach comes in, or maybe they didn't like where they were in the depth chart. That winter portal window came around, and they said, you know what, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to run this back in the spring. My end of the season evaluation was a little bit mixed. Let me see where I can find myself once spring is over. If it's not in a good place, maybe you lost ground in your pursuit on the depth chart, whatever the case might be, okay, I think you should allow that student athlete to say, okay, I tried to do good by my commitment. I tried to stick with it, and now I'm even further behind. I'd want to give that student athlete the opportunity to find a landing spot, but now we're up against the 105 too. So it also helps the coaches to have that window because you're doing that constant evaluation. If you don't have that window where not necessarily that you can add people to your roster, but you are having that ability for guys to hit the portal and you can get that number closer to 105. There's a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of advantages to having that spring window. So to me, I think that's going to be a sticking point. I love the idea of a January window, but I just can't imagine doing this without some type of spring window.
A January window and a spring window that are more condensed, right? That aren't just 6 weeks long or whatever it is. I mean, you condense it a little bit to those 10 days. That still gives plenty of time for guys to figure out. And most of the time, these guys are entering the portal. They know where they want to go to. But I agree. And ultimately, yes, while, you know, the pendulum is swinging back now that the athletes are getting a lot more, the revenue share, all of these things are getting more luxury to this. They're kind of becoming more employees, I guess, if you will. Some of those things need to have some regulations, but especially like some young guys, maybe some true freshmen, you get a sense for it, and a lot of it is about the relationships. But say you come here, you go through a spring ball, and then you realize, okay, this is not really what I actually thought it was going to be, and then you get a chance to actually feel what it's like going to be a student athlete on that campus. Then not to mention there's a lot of times we hear the stories about some family issues that might come up, giving some guys some opportunities to get where they need to be back to family. I personally think there needs to be for both parties those two windows, maybe just shorten them and push back that winter portal a little bit further so that it's not distracting and right in the middle of all the things that are going on. When you have a football program that has, when you're where you want to be, you've got a lot going on in December, and so push it back to January to allow for all the things to happen that needs to happen in December.
Well, and there's another part of this with the December signing period that I think is a little bit diluted because we should still be celebrating these high school players making that commitment. And I think that gets overlooked because, okay, cool, that kid is coming in. But, man, did you see the Alabama transfer? Boy, we got to get him. So, look, this is something you're never going to be able to completely control. But part of me feels bad for the high school, the traditional recruits that are coming in from high school. That's supposed to be a very exciting day. And now we're, as a fan base, and this is every fan base throughout college football, we're in a frenzy over the transfer portal market as opposed to what you're going to get as maybe a 3 or 4 or 5-star guy. And the condensed window, though, I do think is huge. And this goes back to where I do feel for head coaches because, first of all, they're all humans. They have families. And the amount of recruiting and the amount of managing and juggling and making sure that there's no tampering going on, that nobody's infiltrating your roster before anybody hits the portal. There are so many guardrails that just do not exist, and that is a major problem. And I really do hope we can figure that out. But I do think a step, at least a slight step in the right direction, is condensing those windows because, okay, say we still have 2 transfer portal periods, which I think we will. I still think there's going to be a spring one. I just don't see how you can't have that. But if you're condensing it down to a 10-day here and a 10-day here, essentially, 2 weeks of business days, that you're at least giving the coaches an opportunity to breathe. It's going to be a very fast, frenzied 10 days, but it doesn't drag itself out to where you can at least focus on your team. You can focus on getting them better. You can focus on the roster and let these coaches have a little bit of a life as well. There, I said it. I know it's going to be unpopular. People are like, well, what about the money they make? I don't feel sorry. I'm sorry. Let these coaches have a little bit of a life, too. They have families, so I think that could also help, too. It's going to help their sanity. And the other thing, too, I think it keeps good coaches in the game. I think there are coaches that sometimes these things, without the guardrails, it gets overwhelming for them. And they start wondering, is this the best thing for them? Is this the best thing for their family, health-wise? Do they want to remain in the game? Some great college football coaches, I'm sure, have had those types of conversations with their wife, with their family, because it's a lot of stress. The stress that existed, it always exists as a college football coach. Yes, the money exists as well. That stress and those types of just overall pressures that didn't exist before that exist now, there are parts of that I do not envy. And so I think that the tight window or windows could at least help out a little bit.
All right, great stuff there. Let's get to another break here because we got to have time for the head coach, Mark Manning, as his Huskers prepare for a huge duel coming up on Friday night against number 1 Penn State. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. 402-413-2400 is that number to call or text in. I do see some text messages. We will get to those here coming up. But first, let's hear from Mark Manning coming up on the other side of this.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
There's something to be said for American-made, but at Monolith, we're helping create Nebraska-made. From here in Nebraska, we're producing low-emission carbon black for tires across North America. Soon we'll be providing farmers with locally made fertilizer to reduce our reliance on foreign imports. We're investing hundreds of millions in our multiple Nebraska facilities and employing Nebraskans in high-paying jobs that support families and communities. Monolith, Nebraska-made.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
Here last Saturday when we wrestled Minnesota, Alumni Day. It was great to celebrate a lot with them and just, their legacy of decades of great wrestlers coming through this program and what the great things they're doing out in the world and really advancing their careers. Got great fathers and husbands and families connected to Nebraska wrestling, and that's what it's all about. This great brotherhood and we have a super team going on right now, and they really got to connect the alumni and our team, and I really enjoyed seeing that, and that's what it's all about.
So a special day then for you to achieve career win 300 then.
Yeah, well, it means a couple things. I think just number one, we've had a lot of good guys come through this program, and I'm a little older than most coaches, so I don't get carried away too much about the coaching thing. It's more about just continue to develop good players and good bringing the right people in our program, and the wins will come. So
you've had some good wins over the years. You got a good group this year.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're really looking forward to Friday night. It was a great challenge.
Well, before we talk too much about Penn State, I do want to go back to the win over Minnesota. How good was that for your guys to bounce back following the loss at UNI and to get back in the win column and to get things rolling in Big Ten Conference play?
Yeah, it's huge. We wrestled really well. We wrestled just a lot sharper than we did at UNI, and That's why you wrestle a wrestling match, right? That's why you play a game, to see, what you can change, from one week to the next, and how important the mentality needs to be. And we had that dual one at Northern Iowa. We wrestled them 100 times. We'd beat them 99, but they got us the one time, and we made some silly mistakes, and we lost 4 or 5 matches that we could have won. And so just made us sharper, and it'll prepare us, more, just like it did that week. We just took the right mindset and worked on areas where we needed to get better. And I thought we showed that against Minnesota, and against a really tough lineup. They didn't have any holes. They have a solid team, and it was a great match for the fans,
Yeah.
A little terrifying for the coaches, but great match for the fans and for wrestling in general. And, we'll have another one Friday night like that.
I thought a big point, a big key point to that duel was 125 with Caleb Smith, when coming off the heavyweight, when he responds and knocks off, gets a top 5 win or top 10 win for him. How important was that moment for you guys?
Absolutely, Jessica. I think Caleb didn't have a good weekend before. He had lost the guy, but it's just he didn't cut his weight right, and so he didn't learn an important lesson, and just came out really sharp and wrestled a top 5, 6 ranked kid in the country at his weight, and really he didn't beat him score-wise bad, but he dominated him on the mat. The guy was never really in danger of scoring on him, and Caleb, was more the aggressor, and he just had a lot more energy, and he cut his weight right. So that's where it starts in a weight cutting sport. You got to cut your weight right, and you got to get down and make sure you're at your absolute best. And I think Caleb wrestled really well, and looking for the same thing to happen this weekend.
Visiting with head coach Mark Manning as the Huskers prepare to take on #1 Penn State coming up on Friday night. You've got some new faces in the lineup, some guys that are maybe going through this for the first time. You got a lot of guys that have been through it a lot, but how do you balance a team that being ready for these moments week in and week out, facing a Penn State, facing a Minnesota, some of the top wrestlers, top teams in the country in this Big Ten Conference? How do you keep a team ready and focus week in and week out?
Yeah, I think, Jessica, we have a really good room. We have a lot of good young guys in our program right now. And, a lot of people know that Bubba Wilson got hurt in December, and he's been out of our lineup. He's a 6th-year guy, and we got Christopher Mento, redshirt freshman. He knocked off our top 10 guy on Saturday, but we weren't surprised because Christopher's already, he's had a really good season thus far. He's beat the Midland champion 12-1, a big tournament over Christmas. And so Christopher's really proved himself this year as a redshirt freshman. So, him and Bubba will have a wrestle-off sometime here in the next few weeks and really decide that spot. But we have 2 really good guys there, and we have some competition at other weights that just guys we have a red shirt right now. So I think just getting them in practice and putting them in these tough situations that they have to win and they have to fight out of is imperative to their success.
That's great. Well, coming up this weekend, a big one with #1 Penn State. They haven't been here in how long?
Yeah, we've gone to so-called Happy Valley three times. The last 3 times we're Big Ten Network finally figured out, hey, maybe we'll get Penn State going to Nebraska. We've been there the last 3 times, so that's a tough environment to wrestle in. So hopefully we have a little payback here Friday night. But them coming into our crowd, and that's why it's really imperative to have a great sellout, because just creating that environment where it's really tough to wrestle in, compete in, and our guys, obviously we're the underdogs, right? We have nothing to lose, and Penn State have everything to lose. So we want to really put the pressure on them, and we want to show them, hey, that crowd can make the difference in this match. And so we would love Husker Nation to show out and And one, it's going to be a great sporting event. If you're not a wrestling fan, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone knows what a great tackle is. Everyone knows what a double leg is. Hey, they'll love it. I know Coach Rule last weekend said, "Man, your guys were fantastic." You know, he loved the 3-point takedown. So, hey, everyone knows when you're on top, you're winning. So, if you're underneath, you're getting whipped. So.
It's easy to figure out, and it is.
That's right.
It is an electric atmosphere. It is
Yes.
so much fun to be in person at one of these things. You had a great crowd last week.
Yeah.
What does
Wow.
that do for you guys? I mean, what does it mean to you to look up and see a packed Vanny Center?
Yeah, I think just having a great crowd like we had last Saturday was really electric for our guys. I think, you know, that really can just create so much more spirit in these guys and just belief. And you know, they want to entertain people. You know, when you're in a one-on-one battle, you want someone to be behind you besides your coaches and their family. They want to know, hey, I want to compete for people, and that's what our guys. That's kind of how they operate. That's how they bring out the best in themselves, Jessica. And, you know, I think that really showed. Our crowd really showed our team how they can make a difference, and I think Friday night could be big for our team.
Okay, well, tell us about this matchup. I mean, obviously Penn State's a team that no matter who they run out there, it's one of the top in the country. So what does it look like on paper when you guys go into it? How do you prepare for it? What should we be looking out for, the keys in this one?
Yeah, I think, you know, the first 5 weights are key for us, you know, 125 through 157. You know, they have number 1 ranked guys or NCAA champions at, you know, 74, 84, heavyweight. I mean, 165. These guys ranked number 1. So it's great. It's a great challenge. It's what our team trains for in the off season. It's what our team, you know, has been dialed in for a while. You know, we just have to believe and really step up and wrestle our best and bring out our competitive greatness. We talk about it all the time, you know, competitive greatness. That's why people love great sporting events, is to see that competitor come out in you. And so we're, you know, fear does the opposite. And so if you fear them, you're going to get whipped. And so as simple as that, and we try to just keep our guys loose and ready to go and get ready for Friday night.
I love that. I know it's you know, one battle at a time, but for some of these guys, they've faced each other a lot. They're very familiar with each other. They're going to probably wrestle again multiple times throughout this season.
Big Ten, Nationals.
Yeah. How do you go about each kind of matchup, and when you know each other so well?
Yeah, there's a lot of familiarity. Definitely 141, Bo Bartlett and Brock Hardy have wrestled a number of times. Ridge Levitt has wrestled his guy as many times, but I think you know, you just have to wrestle to your standard, and that's what we didn't do. You know, a couple weeks ago when we wrestled Northern Iowa, we didn't wrestle to our standard. You just have to wrestle how you want to, rather than you're wrestling, oh, this guy's ranked number 1, this guy's ranked number 18, this guy's ranked number 6. Really doesn't matter. It's how you wrestle. It's how wrestle within yourself and wrestle to your best ability, not to your opponent. And that's a hard thing to do, you know. And so we talk to our guys quite a bit about just coaching them up, you know, the mental aspect of that. That's the inner battle. That's that inner fight to make sure you take care of the demons in your mind. You know that, hey, you're not going to see anything you haven't seen in practice out on the real competitive, you know, when the bullets are flying. You know, you have to go do exactly what you do in practice. And so hopefully we've created that environment, and you know, we got, you know, another 10 weeks of our season left. So it's just one little one little stop, but it's a big stop. It's a great match, and you know, we'll be ready for the challenge.
I'm ready to go. Sign me up.
Yeah, there you go.
You had mentioned Coach Rule, and I'm sure he'll be out there. If he's not, he'll be tuning in wherever he is. He's been a big fan. A lot of the coaches on his staff has been a big fan. He's really talked about your relationship that you guys have been able to build. I know you went out to several practices. Yeah. What does that mean to you to have that kind of support, to have a guy like that? And I know it's the same goes for him as well, to have you in his corner. Yeah, I think it's really. It's really great. It's why when you coach at a place like Nebraska, why it is special. People say, "Hey, it's nothing like Nebraska. It's special." What makes it special? The people, the camaraderie. Fred Hoiberg, Amy Williams. I see those guys all the time, and they support our program. They support our guys. They're around our guys because the proximity of our facility, and Coach Rule and a number of his staff come to our matches. It's great to have that support. And Rhonda Ravel texted me the other day. It's just really great. And Will Bolt, they're all really great. They're dialed in. They want everyone to be successful here at Nebraska, and that's what a great athletic department, and that's the culture you want, because winning breeds winning, and that's what makes our place special. I love that. All right, you're looking for the first ever sellout for Wrestling Duel coming up on Friday night inside Devaney. One last push. If people are on the fence, why do they need to come out there? How important is it for them to show up and be there for you guys on Friday? Well, come and make a difference. I think come and watch amazing an event. Penn State has won 11 out of the last 13 national titles. Sometime someone's going to beat them. Someone beat the Patriots, right? Someone's going to beat the Chiefs. It's going to happen, right? We all know it doesn't go forever. But I'm not saying we're going to win, but I know our team believes that we can. And so that edge of having fans believe too and cheer them on can be the difference. And I think as many Husker fans can get in the Bob Devaney and cheer our team on will be terrific, and they'll remember it like no other sporting event, because it's addictive. This sport's addictive. You want to see great athletes. You're going to see 20 of them on Friday night. I'm told, too, even just besides the wrestling, there's going to be quite a bit going on outside of it, too. A lot of events. The marketing crew, I know, is all in on it. There's a lot going to be going on. A lot going to be going on, and it's going to be electric. It's been really fun, and we have a stage set up like we did last Saturday. It'll kind of be recreate an NCAA championship match. So it'll be great, and you're going to watch some of the best wrestlers in the country go at it. So come watch us, and appreciate your support. Awesome. Mark Manning, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck, and cannot wait to see you guys out there on Friday night. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jessica. Go Huskers. Huskers.com/tickets if you want to be there inside Devaney on Friday night, 8 o'clock, as Nebraska takes on Penn State inside the Devaney Center on Friday night. All right, we've got to step aside for a break here on Sports Nightly. More to come coming up after this.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Husker fans, this season Nebraska is celebrating 50 years of Husker women's basketball, and we need you to help celebrate. You have shown up for women's hoops from the start and continue to prove that Nebraska fans really are the best in the nation. On Sunday, January 26th, the Huskers face Big Ten opponent Ohio State, and we are calling on all Husker fans to help pack PBA so we can celebrate 50 years of Huskers women's hoops together. Get your tickets now and be a part of this historic season. For event and ticket information, go to huskers.com/tickets.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
set, hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TNL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TNL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TNL Irrigation are like no other.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Neese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Chick-fil-A South Point Pavilions and Chick-fil-A 48th and O are proud to once again present Salute to Service at Nebraska basketball home games for the 2024-25 season. A recipient will be selected for each home game and will receive 2 game tickets, parking pass, VIP pregame meal, Chick-fil-A honor coin, and honored on the court during the game. Thank you for your assistance in honoring our veterans. Nominate your veteran at huskers.com/salute to service. Welcome back. Final segment here of hour number 1 of Sports Nightly. Just a couple minutes left here in this final segment. Jessica Coody alongside Nick Hanley. Nick, I'm sure you did not appreciate, first of all, Mark Manning is awesome. Love him.
Yes.
Love his energy. You can tell why guys want to come compete for him. But I'm sure you and Greg did not appreciate his statement about at some point the Chiefs will lose. Well, you're not a Chiefs fan, though,
No,
right?
I love that. See, this makes me like Mark Manning even more. So, see, I continue to be a Mark Manning fan. That, and he could also probably dominate me in any hand-to-hand combat, even in our age difference. I still never would mess with him. But, yes, he's absolutely right. I'm a Bears fan. I'm a long-suffering Bears fan.
So Greg would not appreciate that. I was thinking Ben is also a Chiefs fan, and somebody else is a Chiefs fan around here.
I think Nate is too. I think Nate Rohr is too.
Okay, so you're the Bears guy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately is right. We're in the middle of, I think, 19 coaches that are being interviewed or have been requested to be interviewed for the job, so that's fun.
And they're posting about it, updates on the social media?
Yes, like they're proud. Like, okay, cool, you're interviewing somebody. Yay! How about a good hire? I don't care. It's like, hey, I tell you, we're working. We're interviewing them, I swear.
Oh, hey, big one for wrestling, though. #1 Penn State. It is going to be rocking inside Devaney.
Yeah, that's awesome. The 3-time defending national champion and having them at the Devaney Center, I hope, and I don't even hope, it's going to be an amazing environment, and the amount of ranked matchups that we're going to have within that duel is going to be fantastic. So, yes, wishing Mark Manning and the boys the very best of luck. And he's right. At some point, that team's going to get that squad is going to get knocked off. So why not Friday?
And they believe. I got a chance to chat with Caleb Smith today, too. We'll bring you that conversation later in the week. Awesome conversation. He was fantastic. He got into wrestling thinking, he went to his first practice thinking there were chairs and stuff, that it was like WWE, but fell in love with it after that day. But we'll bring you that later on this week. But big opportunity for those guys coming up on Friday night. They believe they belong. So, all right, coming up, hour number 2, we're going to talk a little bit more football, some transfer portal, give our opinions on that. Husker men's basketball with big one back at home tomorrow night. We'll talk about that. Lots more to come. So keep it here on Sports Nightly. Hour 2 up next.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Attention, Husker Nation. Are you ready to power up your game? Sap Brothers high-quality off-road red diesel is the fuel that powers your equipment. As official sponsors of the Huskers, we're here with a winning offer with the Sap Brothers Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. Contract your upcoming fuel needs by February 1st and enter to win 1,000 free gallons of our off-road red diesel to keep your engine roaring and equipment running strong. Sap Brothers fuels Husker Nation. Visit sapbros.net/fuel giveaway for more info.
Good evening, I'm Henry Goodwin, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Friday night, 6th-ranked Husker Wrestling hosts #1 Penn State in a top 10 Big Ten matchup. The Huskers are coming off an upset win against Minnesota and are hoping to break Penn State's 5-year undefeated duel streak. The duel is set for 8 p.m. Friday at the Devaney Center. The Nebraska women's tennis team is headed to California to begin its spring campaign, taking on UC Riverside for a doubleheader duel on Thursday, January 16th. The Big Red will face the Highlanders at noon and 4 p.m. Details for Baseball Fan Fest were released today. The event is scheduled for Friday, January 31st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the Hawks Championship Center. The event will give fans a chance to meet the 2025 Huskers and get autographs. The first 1,000 fans will get a free hot dog and water. Activities include a wiffle ball home run derby, inflatables, balloon artists, and face painters. Nebraska Track and Field continues its season this weekend as the Huskers host the Graduate Classic at the Devaney Center Indoor Track on Friday and Saturday, January 17th and 18th. Field events start on Friday at 12, and running events begin at 1:35. Admission is free, and links to watch will be posted on Huskers.com. Finally, there's a huge top 10 college basketball matchup tonight. The 9th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks are in Ames to take on the 2nd-ranked Iowa State Cyclones. At halftime, Iowa State is up 40-30. Our sports ticker is sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Now get ready for Hour 2 of Sports Nightly, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Here comes UCLA the other way. Sebastian Mack, jump stop in the paint, taken away from him by Hoiberg. Hoiberg stripped him. Hoiberg across the timeline. Hoiberg waits for his teammates. On the pass to Butenjel, puts it up, got it! Bang! Merton! Hoiberg driving, left lane, line stopping, goes weak side, bounce pass. Morgan's got it, strong with the ball, puts it up and in, and one. Nebraska with a 9-point lead, their biggest of the game. What a strong move by Morgan.
Rebound Campbell, Penn State looks to retake the lead. Britt Prince knocked it away at half court. Bojan got the loose ball. Bojan volleyball bats it to Prince. Rimdahl for 3, deep left wing. You betcha! Off the assist from Britt Prince. Out Bernie Rimdahl with a Central Valley A3. Forces a Penn State timeout.
Now, here is your host, Jessica Coody, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Nick Hanley here on this Wednesday night edition of Sports Nightly. 402-413-2400. We ran out of time, but I did want to get to a couple of texts on the text line. Nick, this one's from Carter. He said, great analogy, Nick. Appreciate your statement about Jack Hoffman. We'll never forget the spring game in 2013. You are a very heartfelt man, Nick. You represent all of Husker Nation. That one's from Carter.
I appreciate that. Look, I think what we were talking about before we went on the air, too, about just that loss of not only the Hoffman family, which first and foremost is who you think of, but the inspiration that he had. I don't think there's anybody that never either saw that run or knew what he was battling, and then obviously his father later on that was battling, that you just didn't want to do whatever you could, not only for them, but also for the cause, for Team Jack, which has just been so instrumental in the fight against cancer, and especially pediatric brain cancer. So, it was just a very tough way to open up the show, but I think very important for Jessica and myself to be able to acknowledge what is not only a loss for a family that has just gone through it too much, but also a state that has really embraced not only the family, but also the cause. And that cause will continue. I don't think any of us will doubt that.
Yeah, and I know some guys on the chat were asking about maybe donating. Hey, go to Team Jack, their website. They've got all that information there if you, want to give back, because I know that they will continue to fight and continue to want to bring the research to help they've helped so many families along the way. There's so many different areas that they help in the funds that go to the Team Jack Foundation. So there's lots of ways to give back and to donate to continue to help and in Jack's name. But he means a lot to Husker Nation. Jim in Columbus said, I've been to many, many spring games through the years, but when Jack ran for that touchdown, that sticks out in my mind of all the spring games I went to. And Larry, also in the chat, said, great tribute to the Hoffman family. Nick, I'm very happy to hear you back on the air with Husker Sports and looking forward to listening to you in the future. So lots of people glad to have you back here with us, Nick. And they're now giving you a hard time about your Bears in the chat.
Yeah. Hey, and those jokes write themselves. So somebody had asked, when will we finally be good? We being the Chicago Bears. And I said, it's 2025, because next year is always our year. I mean, it's kind of like, now I'm not a Cubs fan. Okay, that's the weird thing about me. I'm actually a Cleveland fan. In my first year of marriage, I married a Cubs fan. It was our first month of marriage when the Cubs in Cleveland played. And talk about testing the marriage right there, too. Yeah. So
made it through that, then you can make it through anything.
I think so, Jessica. I think so. So, yeah, sometimes you're throwing those curveballs early in the marriage. But, yeah, it's I know that was always the Cubs' motto, wait till next year. That's the Bears. But like we mentioned in the last hour, they got to figure out who the heck their coach is going to be.
Well, they'll probably keep posting about all the updates on social media for you. You can follow along there. One of the things that I wanted to get into with you here tonight is we've talked a lot about the transfer portal, and I do think that they're winding down on the additions from the portal, getting pretty close, might have a couple more additions. But now that we've been through the craziness of it, and Huskers now ranked 6th nationally in the transfer portal rankings, best in the Big Ten with 16 currently new additions. But I thought it might be fun for us to, right now, where we stand today after the bowl season and what we saw out of some of those young guys, and then with the transfer portal additions, as of today, which position group we feel the best about, most excited about, most confident in at this point today. So I asked you that earlier. I'll let you go first and let you have first pick.
So I'm gonna give you the most confident in, and then the one that has the most sizzle, will it have the steak? So I'm going to start with that one. The one that has the most sizzle, will it have the steak? And to me, that's the wide receivers. Because when you think of, first of all, having Ja'Cory Barney back, he is an ultimate playmaker. We know that. And I love the way that not only Marcus Satterfield, but then Dana Holgorsen, I think with the differences in what they wanted to do maybe offensively, there was one commonality there, and I think that was how they wanted to use Ja'Cory Barney. He's a big part of this offense, so having him is huge. And then we saw a reemergence of Janiron Bonner. And so there's another guy that I'm really fascinated by what he could do settled into a position. But then you look at the additions of a Dane Key and an Isaiah Hunter, and those two, just their overall production, mind you, at different schools and not in the Holgorsen system, but also having Nikhil Shorts coming from with Dane Key and then also with Hardley Gilmore, having that familiarity, and then also Holgorsen's familiarity with Shorts. I think that is the all sizzle, let's see if there's steak, because we've seen this before, Jessica. We've seen some very intriguing additions at that position. We saw it last year. I was through the moon on what Jamal Banks could do, and I thought that was good. And there were times, nothing to say that this didn't work out. I think Jamal Banks gave you some games where you're like, okay, this is exactly what you wanted to get. We just didn't always see the consistency there, and that was just all around with the offense. So I don't want to say that's the position group that I'm most confident in just yet. It's a position group that I think has a chance to elevate, and given who's going to be slinging in the football, I think that's a big deal. The position group that I'm most confident in, because it has that combination of some key returners, but also some young guys that you're already hearing about, and even guys that we had a chance to see, and you saw it with your own eyes down there in the Pinstripe Bowl, is the secondary. And I think of a guy like Marquise Buford, and I think of Malcolm Hartzog. Malcolm Hartzog, if he is in more of a natural safety position, we've seen some great things out of him. I don't think you can give up on Malcolm Hartzog just yet. I know he had a tough one this year, but I think there are still some good abilities there. Marquise Buford, what he means, what he's meant as one of the leaders of that group, too, in the secondary, playing both safety and corner is big. You mentioned him last night, and he's another guy that I think was probably the unsung, maybe not even probably, he was the unsung hero in the secondary, and that's Sierra Wright. Having Sierra Wright back is also big. And I think another year of his overall comfort level, especially working with John Butler and now John Butler being the DC, I think the Sierra Wright part of this is great. And we can't forget about Bly Hill. We'll see what happens with Bly Hill. But there's another guy that he was, until that injury in the spring game, a little more than a year ago, was slated to start. He was supposed to be actually less than a year ago.
Yeah, they loved him in the spring. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that
so
long, he's got the length, he's got, I know a lot of really great characteristics that they loved out of him in the spring. That injury just really set him back going into fall camp.
And then there's kind of the pleasant surprise of what Deshaun Singleton will look like. Deshaun Singleton had some big moments this year, too. I mean, there was the goal line stand by Nebraska inside the 5 against Rutgers in that key moment of the game, and Deshaun Singleton made a heck of a play. And then, of course, the interception to seal it against Wisconsin to give Nebraska that 6th win and bowl eligibility. So he's another guy that means a lot to the secondary, too. So if they can figure out how to make that work, and he's back and he's happy and he's contributing, that's going to be great. But the intrigue with this group, guys like Donovan Jones, guys like Caleb Benning, guys like Jeremiah Charles, Amari Sanders. How many times did we hear Tony White talk about Amari Sanders, in conversations on those weekly press conferences? So there's another guy. Braylon Prudy's another guy that they're very high on. So I think between the guys that we've already seen play and contribute for this team, but also those young guys that had a chance to learn from them, and you saw it right there with Donovan Jones in the Pinstripe Bowl. There's a guy that had to start at corner there too. So there's a combination of not only key returners, but depth in the secondary that I'm really excited. I mean, that list of guys in the secondary is tremendously long. It's going to have to be thinned down at some point, you would think, for the 105. But I think you've got a lot of good options there in the secondary. So that's the area that I'm most confident with as of January 15th.
I'm not even sure you mentioned the Bufords either.
Oh, yeah, don't forget. Yeah. Well, I mentioned Marquise, but, I mean, yes, then you also have Mario, too. So, yeah. So it's, there's just like there's a lot of riches list.
There. I agree, and that's what Shane on the chat said. What do you think they'll get that number to? I mean, you got to imagine that when you are shrinking down that roster size, that's going to be a room we might see a couple more names go into the portal.
Yeah, and this is where I think this spring is going to be extremely interesting from the competition standpoint, where I think when most people think of spring, it's the 15 practices culminated by the spring game. It's a chance to get an idea of what person might have that year 1 to year 2 or 2 to 3 jump. This is going to be competition, I think, as cutthroat as we've seen, because you have to, what you just said right there, you got to get to 105. And there are a lot of people that said, hey, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to stick this thing out. So I think it's going to be decided there in those 15 practices. So this is going, and especially that position group, it is going to be a absolute war, I think, when it comes to competition in spring.
So I also had wide receiver potential on mine too. Also the addition of Cortez Mills, Phil Simpson, who came back to the staff, very familiar with that Florida area. Chatted with him a little bit during bull practices, and he is very, very high on him. So I think you add him into the fold. He's a guy that, like Ja'Cory Barney, very, very likely that he comes in and makes an impact as a freshman, plus the additions, as you mentioned, from Kentucky, the Zaya Hunter from Cal, all the guys that they brought in from the portal with the guys coming back. I think that will be a position group we'll be watching for, with the guy at quarterback throwing them the ball. But I think I'm going to go with linebacker for the group that I'm probably most confident in, I guess, at this point. And it's crazy to say that, given that there's still a lot of unknown with that group. But I think with the guys that they targeted in the portal, some of those big names, some of the biggest names that they got, plus Vincent Schaefer's coming back. We saw how great he played at the end of the season last year. In the bowl game, in the Pinstripe Bowl, he was all over the place. True freshman last year, so got a lot of experience with him coming back. Heard that Javen Wright Buddha hopefully will be coming back as well, so there's your experienced guy. But then I loved the trio of linebackers that they also added in the signing class, in the Christian Jones, the Dawson Merritt, and Pierce Newberry, and guys that very well we saw. I don't think they're going to be shy. Coach Rule is not shy to play freshmen, so if they come in, do what they're supposed to do, take care of business. I think potentially those are guys that maybe could even wind up on the field as true freshmen, but I think you got some depth there. You got some exciting players, some guys proven from some other programs. So you have the experience, you have the young talent, you have some guys coming back. So I think that group for me is right now today the group that I'm most excited about.
And if I could add the linebackers in a different category, I think we're just going to make up categories as we go. Why not? I mean, come on, it's January 15th. But that, to me, if I had to, because you hit the nail on the head on the young guys. Because I'm so excited, and I hope Javen Wright, if he is able to stay healthy, his length, what he brings, and talk about a leader. And there's a guy who's a playmaker at that position too. That's great experience to have back. And you're right about Vincent Shavers. Who had a better bowl game than Vincent Shavers?
I don't think Ramir Johnson maybe, but
yeah. Vincent Shavers was everywhere.
Yeah, he was all over the place in a game that they had to have that defense to win. But yeah, and with Buddha, with Javen, he still is just. I brought this up the other night, but just that he was a defensive back. He's still really feeling comfortable. Just now, feeling comfortable in that linebacker position. He's got the size, he's got the weight, he's got the footwork, all the things, being the quarterback at that position. So I think you're just now starting to see his best linebacker play. He also played well in the Pinstripe Bowl. So I think with those two guys coming off the season that they had last year, coming back, and then you add the newcomers and the trio of really, really talented linebackers in the signing class, that's just a group I'm really excited to watch. And I think it's going to be, even though there's maybe some unknown, I think it's going to be a group that's going to perform well.
Yeah, that's why I would put him as maybe that future star category because of the signing class. I mean, who isn't excited about Christian Jones? What he did just in his prep career at Westside was fantastic. Newberry, Vermas, everybody's seen them locally, and I know some of those guys might be, bouncing between linebacker and defensive back too. But Dawson Merritt, that was a huge, huge get, and to be able to have that group just getting their feet underneath them and being able to learn, be that next wave of guys, that's very exciting for the future. So if I had to think of the future star position right there, that would be it. That would be it for me. You bring up some good points about the linebackers because they don't bring as many back as they did as far as overall snaps a year ago. But there were some important snaps. And I think about the longevity and going back to Vincent Shavers, the type of experience he got this year, and to watch him start the season and then where he was at the end of the year, to see it all come to a head where at that point you want to see these guys playing like sophomores. Vincent Shavers embodied that, just like Dylan Raiola did. Dylan Raiola was making decisions and playing the game like he had been playing for 2 years. That's what you want to see out of those true freshmen. So to see those guys, there's the development there that we think of a Matt Rule team. There's the development there that we think about this program that Matt Rule has right there. And those are two great examples, but especially if we're talking about the linebackers, Vincent Shavers, and this is why I love Rob Dvorak. I think that is that talk about future stars.
Yep.
When we all think about Tony White, and we knew that Tony White's days would be numbered at Nebraska because he's too good of a defensive coordinator that he was going to be a head coach somewhere. Obviously, he goes over to Florida State, take the same job. But Rob Dvorak's another guy that I think of that, man, just enjoy him while you can right now because there's a guy that has developed that group, maybe doesn't get as much credit outside of the Nebraska circles that he should. But if you watch those groups just in the 2 years that he's been there, all they've done is gotten better.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right, we got to get to a break here on Sports Nightly. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. 402-413-2400 is that number to text in if you completely disagree with everything Nick and I just said. All right, we're back with more. We have some people who want to know your thoughts on the national championship game, so we're going to talk about that. And big matchup for Nebraska men's basketball back at home. That's on the other side of this. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Attention, Husker Nation. Are you ready to power up your game? Sap Brothers high-quality off-road red diesel is the fuel that powers your equipment. As official sponsors of the Huskers, we're here with a winning offer with the Sap Brothers Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. Contract your upcoming fuel needs by February 1st and enter to win 1,000 free gallons of our off-road red diesel to keep your engine roaring and equipment running strong. Sap Brothers fuels Husker Nation. Visit sapbros.net/fuel giveaway for more info.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly. Jessica Coody, Nick Hanley here with you on this Wednesday evening. All right, Nick, we're going to let you go after this segment because we got to talk to Peter Kobelt as Nebraska men's tennis opens up their season this weekend. But we got some people want to know, who's your pick for the national championship? What's your take on it?
This is the thing where I want to put myself into that position of, can we just believe in something? And am I crazy to think, and maybe I'm a victim of this as we get closer and closer to the game, damn the point spread and the SP plus numbers that have Ohio State favored by almost 2 touchdowns. It's as we get closer, we want to believe that, hey, we might be in store for a tremendous national championship. And I think there's reason to believe that Notre Dame could pull this off. And I'm going to throw a couple of things at you here as far as why I think Notre Dame – I get the point spread, by the way, and I understand how Vegas is seeing this thing. But bear with me here. Remember that, and you were in Columbus, Ohio. You saw this down on the field level. Remember when number 15 decided, hey, you know what? People don't think I can run the football. I'm going to tuck it. I'm going to scoot a little bit. And had some success doing it.
Yeah.
Which this is actually kind of fun, too. The fact that Ohio State is playing as good as they are. Nebraska had a legitimate shot at beating them, but I digress. That was a weapon for Dillon and the offense in that game. Think about when Oregon knocked off Ohio State. Dillon Gabriel, not only was the downfield passing attack very effective, but Dillon Gabriel's athleticism and his ability to be mobile in that game, I thought also really did help out what Oregon was able to do in eventually winning that football game. Now, Ohio State, it's almost as if a switch has gone off with their defense. Jack Sawyer's, he's tremendous. He's as good as you're going to see. But I think the Riley Leonard factor of a guy that does have that ability to just make the hero plays with toughness with his legs, that can keep things a little bit competitive. And the fact that Notre Dame can run the ball effectively, that is also something that I think can serve them well. The problem is, but this is why I think there is some good news. The problem is they haven't been the greatest downfield passing attack throughout the season. They've been able to really outmuscle teams and use the passing game when need be. And it's more perimeter passing than it is downfield passing. But you've seen in the last couple of games, and even against Penn State, where Notre Dame did start to attack the middle, attack the deep middle, and they had some success in doing so. Now, again, are you looking at defensive backs that are a little bit more talented than what they've seen? Yeah, maybe. But I think what Notre Dame is starting to find offensively gives me reason to believe that they can keep this thing competitive. Here's why I'm still going to take Ohio State to win them. I know, I just built up Notre Dame. Here's why I'm still going to take Ohio State. There is a guy who's a true freshman that is going to be out for blood, and that is Jeremiah Smith. He was bottled up in that last game against Texas. And good on Texas. And not saying Notre Dame can't try something similar, but they are going to find out ways. And Chip Kelly, this is why he is in a great position as the OC, not having to be the head coach at UCLA. This is what he does. He gets in the lab. He looks at how teams want to attack them, and then he counters very well. And, hey, Will Howard is playing good football right now, too. But I think Jeremiah Smith will be the ultimate X factor in this game. He's going to have some big-time moments. I think Ohio State eventually wins this football game, but I think Notre Dame's going to make it uncomfortable at times. But I think I'm going to take Ohio State to win it by a score of, I'm going to say 34-27.
Okay. All right. I am not going to make my pick because we do picks, and I forgot to ask Greg. I think we're probably going to do it on Friday. Maybe Monday, I don't know. But so I'll wait. I'll hold on to my pick. But there you have Nick's pick is going with Ohio State. So we do this pick segment, and I was right there on the heels of the students who have led all year, and I went totally opposite of them in the semifinals. So I don't even have. I'm all for. I just want Ohio State to win. We got to have a Big Ten representative to continue to shut up those SEC mouths. You know what I mean?
Well, and then we can also say Nebraska was moments away from beating the national champion.
Yes.
That's how close they
There
are.
you
So
go.
there's also that part of it, too. And then, Notre Dame not being in a conference, it confuses everyone. So, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, final few minutes we have here with you. Let's talk some Husker men's hoops. And Rutgers coming to town, 8 o'clock tip tomorrow night, so a late one. But Huskers have dropped 2 in a row going into this one. The importance of protecting the home court, keeping that streak going in PBA. But they need to get back on the win column. And this is a big one for Fred Hoiberg and company tomorrow night.
Anybody who knows me, they know who exactly I'm going to start with when it comes to who I want to see have a monster night, and it's not going to be in the starting variety, too. It's going to be Connor Essegian off the bench. And it was very positive in a game that didn't have a lot of positives against Purdue, other than Sam Hoiberg and Connor Essegian. And Connor Essegian, I'm really hoping that unlocked more what he can do off the bench, because that is such a weapon for Nebraska to have off the bench. And then also, and we saw this last year, Jessica, Juwan Gary, when he is active early on, it's great things for this offense. And I'm not talking about being able to hit the occasional corner three. I'm talking about him actually getting active in the paint, offensive rebound, putbacks, and being able to see the ball actually just fall through the cylinder, because he's fighting it right now. And it's not because of lack of effort or not knowing where he's supposed to be. He's having some bad luck. There's been some offensive fouls. There's been charges called. So it's not as if he's out of position or anything, but if he's active early in this game, that's also a huge part of where I think Nebraska has success. Because for people who don't know Rutgers, yeah, the record is not overwhelming. It's not a juggernaut, but Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, those are 2 players that are going to be NBA lottery picks.
Yeah.
And Dylan Harper is healthy. And so you got a point guard that can put up 20 a night, and then you've got a wing that can, at 6'10", that can put up 19 a night. And I like what Fred had to say earlier today. They can't get caught up in the shots that those guys will make, because those guys are going to make shots. It's what they do with the other guys that are on the court. And also, does this not feel like a game where Nebraska, yes, they're at home, and we know that they've been so successful, but this is one where they just really have to focus on themselves. They got to understand who they want to get active and involved early, especially offensively, and be able to see that through. That's where I think the defense follows with them. That's where I think if they're not turning the basketball over, they're not giving extra possessions to teams, then that defense is able to lock down, and that's the identity of this team.
Well, and to your point, too, about getting somebody else going, Adam Howard, he brought that up on the Nebraska men's basketball show on Monday night. Purdue was able to do what not very many other teams have been able to do, and that was limit Bryce Williams. And, teams are going to continue to do that, try to take him out of it. So somebody else has got to get going to continue to open things up for Bryce. So, Juwan getting going would be big, having Connor off the bench open things up. So somebody else has got to have a big night, too, and continue to have big nights, because I think we're going to continue to see teams really do their best at just making sure that Bryce gets as few opportunities as possible, looks at the rim, and just completely try to take him out of it.
Yeah. And value in every possession, too, because that's another thing Nebraska's fighting right now is the turnovers, and then Purdue was able to exploit that. And they didn't need any help the way Purdue is set up. But the 17 turnovers to 22 points off of turnovers, I mean, that's a big thing. And if you think about whether it's a road game or a home game, obviously there's a comfort there. You feel maybe a little bit more at ease at home. But if you want to ruin a good thing and you want to ruin a great home streak that Nebraska has right now, if those turnovers continue and Rutgers is getting opportunities, maybe they're having an empty possession, but then they're getting extra possessions, that's where those guys like Ace Bailey and Harper really do concern me, because they have the potential to go off on have a big night where maybe they don't need as much help around them if Nebraska continues to turn the basketball over. So I expect that to be a major point of emphasis tomorrow night with Fred and the guys.
All right, and again, that will kick us off the air tomorrow. Both basketball teams on the air tomorrow night. We'll have women's basketball at Iowa. They'll start at 5:30, pregame show there, and then Kent and Jake will have the pregame show starting at 7 o'clock. Before that, 8 o'clock tip inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. Nick, thanks. That was fun. That flew by.
Yeah.
I
Let's
feel
do
like
it
you just
again.
got here like 5 minutes ago.
I know, it did. I'm used to doing the 4-hour thing, too, so this is a breeze. But let's do it again.
I think we'll have you back on soon. Maybe,
right.
I think coming up next week, right? So.
Yes, I believe so.
And Nick Hanley joining us here on Sports Nightly. We got to step aside for a break. Coming up next, we're going to talk some Nebraska men's tennis with head coach Peter Kobelt. Keep it here.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? you might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Set, hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TNL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TNL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TNL Irrigation are like no other.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. I'm Jessica Coody, and we are now almost a week out from the opening weekend for Nebraska men's tennis. And so to preview the season with us is the head coach, Peter Kobelt, entering his second season, but first officially as a head coach. He had the interim tag last year, but Troy Dannon removed that back in May. So welcome back into the studio. And how you feeling? It's almost here.
Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, it's been great. First year officially as a head coach. It's been an amazing, last 6 months, 7 months. A lot's gone on, but now it's time to play. So the fun time of the year is here now. So.
You guys came off one of the most successful seasons in program history last year. I think tied a record for most regular season wins, got to the Big Ten semifinals. How did you feel about the foundation that you guys were able to lay this time a year ago going into this season?
Yeah, sure. I think it's hard. You know, I was the interim head coach last year, so it was tough. You know, you're still learning the job. You're still learning how to coach the guys. You're still understanding what it's like to be the head coach. But I think we did a really good job. Our staff and the players did a great job of buying into our team beliefs and our core values and what we really want to do as a program. And I think that didn't show until kind of the end of the season. We had a good year, and then right there at the end where we beat Illinois in the Big Ten quarterfinals to make the semifinals for the first time ever was a big mental hurdle for us, I think. So hopefully we can continue that momentum into this season. I think we got, you know, a very experienced team now. A lot of seniors, a lot of juniors. You know, all but one guy on the team went through all that last year with us. So I think they understand what I expect from them, and I think we've done a really good job this past fall building on our team philosophy.
How much of a luxury is that? I mean, you hear that across all sports, but you got pretty much everybody back and added a really good newcomer. But just to have so many returners that went through this with you, how nice is that for you to have here in season 2?
Sure, and we didn't lose anyone either. Or we did lose Nick and Rudy, but we also were able to hold on to Shunya. Shunya is our graduate assistant coach too, so I think that's been a huge addition too, just having his relationship with the guys, and obviously now he gets to kind of see what goes on in the coach's office. I think is nice for him, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just good. I have a great relationship with all the guys. They understand me. They understand what I expect. We've made it very clear what the expectations are. You know, we've made a big effort on our team in putting emphasis on our team philosophy and not so much on winning and losing, more on are we improving each week as a team? Are we buying into the process of improving each week? And I think that's helped the guys kind of take their minds off of, okay, like if you win, if you lose, you know, it's not the end of the world. Let's keep getting better.
Well, let's talk about a few of the guys. I got to start with Calvin Mueller, right? And the season that he had a year ago was the first ever Husker to win the Big Ten singles title back in the fall. What kind of step are you looking for him to take here going into a senior season?
Yeah, Calvin's, you know, one of our most talented players. He's always been, you know, if not our most talented, one of our most talented, and I think he's matured a lot in his time here. I was tough on him last year for sure, because as a coach you can see all the talent that he has, and you want him to, you know, you want players like that to maximize their potential, and I think he really bought into my message for him, our message as a coaching staff, and I think that really helped him later on in the season. Was it perfect? No, by me or by him? No, but that's how sports work. But yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of experience. He played and beat a lot of really good players last year at the #1 position on a lot of really good teams. So I think he's got a pocket full of confidence and belief that we're going to need from him this spring for sure.
You know, on a lot of these guys too, if you look them up, read about them, all of them are coming off their best year as a Husker. Why do you think that was, that all of them were able to have, you know, their best season last year? And I'm sure the expectations raised going into this year.
Sure. Well, I think, you know, you try and stay away from those types of things as a little bit as a coach. You know, you kind of just buy into like, hey, like, it's really simple. It's always coach talk, but what are we doing to get better today? Or how, you know, the next ball you hit, it's got to be the most important ball you hit, and then you got to forget about it. So I think one of my goals as a coach is to set the standard, a highly disciplined program, hold them accountable all the time. But also, I feel like I'm on the younger side of the coaching world, and I can relate to the guys well, so I try and have fun with them too. Every practice, we're having fun, we're laughing. It's intense. Sometimes it goes both ways, but I think they appreciate how much I try and I care, and they know I'm young and I'm going to make some mistakes, but they see that I really care about them and about Nebraska and about the tennis program here. So
that's great. Okay, Leo Linquet Jr., he went 5-1 last year in singles play and Big Ten play. Tell us about him and coming off his sophomore season now as a junior, what kind of step he can take.
Yeah, he was one of our top recruits not too long ago. He came in from Buenos Aires, Argentina. That's never an easy transition from, you know, a warm culture country, coming to a place like Nebraska where we play a majority indoors. But he's been great. He's another one of those guys that's very talented, and over time he's started to develop that toughness that he really needs, and I think he started to catch on to that a little bit at the end of the year last year. He had some really good wins over some good players. He played some really good players very closely, and I think he's starting to really believe that, hey, like I'm right there and I can do this. So
Anton Shep is another guy that was in the lineup. He came off the injury, right? How is he doing? What are you looking for out of him going into his senior season?
Anton's a beast, physical beast. His dad's a professional kickboxer.
Wow.
Like, yeah, he comes from a tough family. They've raised him like that. So we never have to worry about Anton playing through pain or through an injury. And he's a dream student athlete in those terms. And I think he's starting to understand how he needs to play, understand how his game and how he needs to implement that against his opponents, and also how to handle some of the setbacks that happen inside of a match. I think he's matured a lot as a player and as a person on and off the court the last 6 months. And obviously his teammates voted him a captain. He's one of our 3 captains. And, you know, when you're a captain at a place like Nebraska, it's a big deal. So I think he understands the position he's in. He's one of our best players. And I think he's positioning himself to have a great spring season.
Oh, that's great. Okay, Lars Johan, who was the captain last year as well. Tell us about him and what your expectations are for him.
Yeah, Lars, this is actually going to be his last year with us. He's been 100% bought in. Basically, from the very first day I started, even as interim head coach, he's been super supportive of me. He really does a great job. He comes to practice every day. He doesn't complain. He doesn't, he doesn't say anything this way or that way. He's very motivated. He works very hard, and he's played and won a ton of matches for us now. He's been here for 3 years, and I think he really understands what college tennis is, understands the expectations that we have as a program. He understands where, you know, I want to take our program, and, you know, what's expected from him and the team. And I think he's going to be a great leader because he's going to be able to control the locker room with the 2 other captains and make sure that what happens in that locker room is what needs to happen. So,
tell us about your trio of captains.
Yeah, so Henry Bilisic, he's our 6'10" boy.
6'10", wow.
6'10" tennis player. Yeah, he got me. But he went to a unique high school. He graduated from Culver Academy in Indiana, which is a military-based high school, and he was a captain, I believe, of his group, where he was in charge of 150 or 175 others. I don't know the military terms.
Wow.
But he was in charge of that many other kids, and he was responsible for them. So he understands leadership, and he understood it from a very young age. I think his family's raised him the right way, and he's grown a ton here as a tennis player too. He comes and works his tail off every day. When he came here, he wasn't our best player, but the guys in our team can see how much he's put into the weight room, how hard he's put, all the effort he's put onto the tennis court, and he's made a big jump with his tennis, and I think he's gained a lot of the respect of his guys, and he's the easiest guy to talk to off the court too. He's got a great personality, and he kind of gets it. He understands what leadership is, and then yeah, Anton and Lars, they've earned their stripes. I think they're obviously a lot of it's off the court, but they have the guys have a lot of respect for those 2 on the court, what they've done for Nebraska, how hard they've worked, all the effort they put into the program, all the practices, all the ups and downs. So I think we have a really good balance of the leadership on our team, and you know, I have a little quote, you know, I gave them was, you know, when the team needs you guys the most, you 3 have to be your very best. So that's what we keep echoing to them, and throughout the season, there's going to be a time where we're going to really need to lean on those guys, and they're going to have to get us through a few of these tough matches. So I believe that they can do it.
Ronnie's your other senior, right? He's the one coming off the injury that, right,
Yes.
the last season that towards the end of the season was able to get healthy for you guys. What's his outlook look like for his senior season?
Ronnie's healthy. Yeah, Ronnie went through it. Ronnie, you know, he was playing #1 for us not too long ago, beating some fantastic players. and he had a dose of bad luck, a bad back injury, and then even this fall he broke his finger in a fluke accident, and he wasn't able to play really at all this fall. So the last 18 months he hasn't played much tennis, so it's going to be important for us to get him back out there and play in some matches because he can play, and he's one of our very best competitors. He's tough. He loves Nebraska. He's the dream student athlete, 4.0 student, does everything the right way, all the extra stuff in the training room, on the court. He's always there, always doing it, eating right. So, Ronnie, if Ronnie can get it going, Ronnie's going to be a weapon for us for sure.
Opening up on Saturday the 18th, 11 a.m. against Drake inside the Dillon Tennis Center. You said that about the fans earlier. How important is that, the support that you guys get here in Lincoln?
Huge, yeah. And I think one of my goals once I was officially named the head coach was to get out into the community and really challenge everyone here and be like, hey, look at our facility, look, our team's doing great, let's try and connect the community as well as we can to the tennis program, trying to open up the facility a little bit more to the public. We've taken our guys around town to some of the clubs and done a few events. We went out to Kearney, Nebraska and did an event out there, so just trying to reach out. The tennis community here is very strong. It's not huge. It's a tennis community. We're small, but the people here are great. They're very loyal. They love tennis, and I think they really want to see Nebraska tennis do well. And we promise that when you come watch us play this spring, that you'll like what you see.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of sport to take in. But there's a lot of things that go on outside tennis, right? There's promotions every week. There's a lot of fun things to get involved with week in and week out when you guys play at home.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we try and do a few little things for you come. We'll have T-shirts available this year. We're trying to get some more gear available for people when they come out to watch the matches. But we want our guys to be involved with the community, so we're always looking for opportunities to do that. I think our guys get to understand the people here. When they come here, they come from all over the world. They don't know too much about Nebraska other than what we recruit, our recruiting pitches. But I think getting them involved in the community, building relationships with the people here, I think it helps them understand what kind of platform they have and how big of an impact they can make, not just inside the tennis center, but also in the community.
Awesome, great stuff. And it's all free, right? You can
100%. Yep.
You just show up and go and see some great tennis.
You're allowed to be loud, guys. You're allowed to scream, yell, and scream. Be as loud as you can. Yes, we're working on a few cool events for the spring. I'm not going to talk too much about them now, but in the next few months, we're trying to really do some cool things at the tennis center to get more people involved in the community, get more people inside the facility, and hopefully we can win some more tennis matches for all you guys too.
We'll keep you posted on that fun stuff ahead. But yes, make sure and be out there at the Dillon Tennis Center coming up 11 a.m. against Drake next Saturday, the January 18th for Nebraska men's tennis as they kick off the 2025 spring season. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Jessica, awesome. Thank you.
And that is Peter Kobelt, the head coach for Nebraska men's tennis. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Sports Nightly. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. All right. No show tomorrow night. We will be on the air with Nebraska women's basketball at Iowa. And then we will also have the men's basketball game against Rutgers. They're home tomorrow night, and we will have both those for you right here on the Huskers Radio Network. Full show coming up for you on Friday night. Greg Sharpe will be back with us, so have a great night and happy game day coming up tomorrow as we watch Nebraska women's basketball and Nebraska men's basketball in action tomorrow night. Have a great night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Preparation is the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pre-game routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C14229.